off being unaware of our player object. But we can detect the distance between one game object and another. In very simple terms, we can do a get distance. And get distance is kind of a cool thing because we'll take the owner, the enemy, and we'll target the player, and we'll store that in a new variable, and we'll say distance to player. And we'll debug that. So right now, if I hit the play button, we're still patrolling. We're never going to shoot right now. And we have a distance that's being calculated. And it looks like we never get closer than like 21 meters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down. So I'll say the target will be like 10 or 15 meters. If we get within 10 or 15 meters of this object, the enemy should start shooting at us. Otherwise, it'll just be not shooting. It won't change its patrol right now. Based on what we know, how do we get it to move to the aiming and therefore the fire loop based on this information? We've done this a bunch of times already for different mechanics.
What about if variable is like a certain number or doesn't?
And so what do we use for that? What do we use in health? No, we got the variable. We got the distance of player. How do we determine if we're alive or dead? Go float what? There. Float compare. Do the same thing, float compare. So you can see we're using these kind of this logic over and over. So we'll say float compare, and we're going to say distance to the player, and we'll set float 2 as whatever the threshold is. So if we're equal to or less than 15, we should go next. Okay, so we'll say equal to. In fact, you know what? We're not going to do equal to. We'll say less than. We go next. If we're greater than, we don't. Yeah, we just stay there. It's like being alive. We're not aware. We're not aiming. We're not doing anything. We'll do this every frame. Okay. Now, there's a little bug in our logic, but we can test this, and so I always recommend that we do. If we get within 15 meters, we get as close as 21, it looks like, and no behavior should change. It's not shooting because the shooting loop happens over here. Okay, so it's just kind of floating around.
Does that also take into account that since your character can't move?
Well, my character can move. It's very slippery. I'm on ice, which I should fix. Okay, but now it's aware and it's aiming and it's going to shoot every 3 seconds. The glitch right now is that what?
Now it stays in aim, so it doesn't go back to its unaware if it's seizure.
Yeah, it stays in its shooting loop. So what we do? Let's fix it.
Aiming if you get the player distance, if it's greater than 15, it goes back to the unaware state.
I like it. And we're gonna bump it up like a little bit to give it a little bit of a buffer so that we're not, so we'll do a float compare right here as well. And we're gonna float compare our distance to player. We were using 15, which we can do, but we could find ourselves in a situation where if we find ourselves in a situation where we're switching back and forth between being over and under 15, very close,
20?
we might, yeah, so we'll bump it up like 1 or 2, okay? Meaning that we have to get further away from it than we were initially, okay? And this is something that, like, you know, just through experimentation, you know, we'll figure out. So I'll say 16. And then really we're only concerned with equal to or greater than, or for this demo we'll say greater than. Now we need a new event because we got a branch here. So we'll say unaware. We'll do this every frame. Right click, add transition, unaware, and wire it back over here. Okay? So over here, and I like to start color coding things at this time. Okay, if we're in unaware, we'll be blue. If we're shooting, that's a bad thing for our player, so I'll make it red or purple. If we're aiming, we're kind of locked in, and we could use the same. This is part of the same cycle, so if I'm shooting, I'm kind of in the red, and if I'm aware, I'm over here, or maybe this is green or orange, or I mean, you'll figure out a system. But I like to start grouping these based on color to kind of show, the logic loop. Over here's this red logic loop. Over here's the, something a little bit different. It still plays a role. So now we should be able to see this switch. I know if I get within 15, if I can drive this thing, okay, now it's shooting, I'll run away. What's going on here? I made a bug. That was user error. Not too bad. Let's step through this. This is working beautifully. We're getting distance to the player, and we're doing a float compare.
Is it so you didn't modify it to the unaware float?
We got a float compare here.
Well, you don't have to get distance thing for it either.
What's that?
You don't have to get distance.
Yeah, so whenever we switch over here, it stops paying attention to the distance. So you'll see that once, if I can drive this thing, man, I really got to fix that. Okay, so we're in distance right now, but it's no longer calculating. Yeah, so I just forgot to add the get distance. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to borrow this one, get distance, Command C to copy. I'll come over here and I'll either click on the cog and say paste after or paste before. Command V should work too. So again, we'll just do the same thing. We'll continuously get distance and then compare it, and now it should work. Okay, so if I can get out of the corner. Oh man. Okay, so it's aiming, and it should naturally just kind of fall outside the range. And so you can fine tune that stuff, but you can see that working right now. And I'll back up over here. Man, that's terrible. Okay, within range. It'll be very satisfying to put the health system on this enemy. So I'm going to do that really quickly too while we're... so here I have a working health system that I like. I'm going to right click and I'm going to save it as a template. And I'll call this health system. Save it in templates. Yes. I'll go over to enemy. We have movement, we have shoot. I'm going to create a new state machine and I'll paste my template. Okay, now I have my health system applied to it. I have the state, which I don't need, and now I should be able to destroy the tank. It should, yeah, that way I can... Fortunately, I can just mash the keys here and I have tons of ammo, so my shot could be awful, but I got it. Didn't explode or anything cool yet, didn't fall apart, didn't spawn any ammo, didn't, lose some parts before it, when its health got down to 1, which would be kind of cool too. Maybe start smoking. Right? Make the game you want to make. Make the game you want to play. All right? It can get more complex than this, obviously, and we will. But that gives us, I think, everything that we need to start setting up basic behaviors. One last thing that I'll mention that's kind of cool is I'm going to make an empty game object, and I'll call this enemy rig 1. And I'll take all of this stuff that's my enemy, and I'll drop it in my enemy rig. Okay, so it's rigged to navigate. Okay, I'm going to duplicate my enemy rig, so I have enemy 2. Okay, a little premature for this, but so I'm not confused, I'm going to hide enemy rig 1 just for a moment. And I'll go into enemy rig 2. I'm going to keep that waypoint where it is, but I'm going to create a variation. Kind of a shorter patrol. If I wanted more nodes in this patrol, I would just duplicate the waypoint and go into my enemy. If I wanted a 5th waypoint, all I got to do is copy this state, paste it, wire it into the loop, and create a 5th waypoint. Or I could even just like have it ping pong once or twice over here. Okay, but now I have a 2nd enemy. And you're right, if I attach my health system to myself now, they might be on top of it. Yeah, there they go. They're on top of each other. That was weird. Okay. So it's clearly aware and shooting at me. I'll take care of him. Oh man, I'm awful. But you get the idea. Because, you know, I put this in an empty game object. It doesn't have to be in an empty game object, but it keeps it all nice and tidy. It's duplicated. These are unique game objects. Waypoint 1, 2, 3, and 4 refers to this one. This waypoint 1, 2, 3, and 4 refers to this one. So it's really super scalable at this point. Okay, you can have a completely different set of waypoints, game objects,